Hello viewers, this is Paladin of Odin, and this is some more Magic the Gathering Online. This is another episode of the Standard Commentary series. Okay, so Sylvan Scrying to get Opulent Palace. I am curious now what his deck is set up for. Because we see green and white, green and black, and now he has green and black and blue. I mean, if it was an Abzan color, he could have gotten the Sandstep Citadel instead of Opulent Palace. So it's obvious that he's actually running blue, so it's a 4-color deck. This, on the other hand, is looking a lot like a blue-white control deck, given that he hasn't played anything. Retreat to Kazandu. After Retreat to Hagra, this is probably my favorite retreat. Three life off of one land. And Dragon Lord Ojutai. So, pretty sure he's running blue-white control, but that's the thing. The retreat deck hasn't really played anything to be countered. But now is the perfect time to play whatever you can. Brilliant Spectrum. Draws cards. So he spent 4. So he's drawing 4 cards and then has to discard 2. And he discards Painful Truths. I have to say, compared to Painful Truths, Brilliant Spectrum is garbage. I mean, that is not a good card. Especially given the other cards that we've seen in the past. I mean, the first one that comes to my mind, same mana cost, it's a sorcery. 4C. Scry 4, draw 2. This is not a good card. I mean, unless you have the ability to mess with your graveyard, bring things back, things like that, or delve. You know, if you don't have the ability to interact with your graveyard, Brilliant Spectrum is a bad card. And since you're playing Painful Truths anyway, just play Painful Truths. Utter End on Ojutai. Will it resolve? Dig through time. And it's looking like it will. I can't think of... Oh, there is, what is it, Dispel? The one blue counter target instant spell? But I highly doubt that's in his deck. Or, excuse me, it is in fact in his deck. And it saved Ojutai, which is basically the best card on the board right now. Monastery Siege, choosing cons. He draws an additional card and has to discard a card. all the sieges, I have to admit, I don't see Monastery Siege hardly at all. And all that life gain in the beginning, and Ojutai is just pulling it right back. They're almost even life totals again. And he had to discard Silk Wrap, which so far is pretty useless. Debilitating Injury. -2, -2. Well, to be honest, that's not really that debilitating for Ojutai. To be honest, the whole point is the draw card effect. The fact that she has a 5/4 body is just just the icing on the cake. Granted, against this kind of odd deck, being able to deal 5 damage every turn would be really helpful because of the amount of life that he's been able to gain. But for this, it looks like he has dark Jeskai colors, but at the same time, ooh, Knight of the White Orchid. But I was gonna say, at the same time, we haven't seen any black or red spells from him, and it's more of a control deck. Sphinx's Tutelage. Is that really what the point of your deck is? Is this a mill deck? Because, yes it is. Alhammar's Archive, Sphinx's Tutelage. You don't play those cards unless you're planning on milling your opponent. So this is basically the slowest mill deck I have ever seen. Ochitai's Command to gain 4 and draw a card. But now every land gains him 4 life. Jace! You might actually live to see some action in this game. This guy has much more pressing issues to deal with than you. So all in all, he really didn't lose anything important. I mean, Clash of Wills would have been nice to have, but the 2 Silk Wraps appear to be completely useless. He already has Dragonlord Ojutai in play. Knight wouldn't have been too bad. Disdainful Stroke. He conceded. Hedonist's Trove. I'm sitting here trying to think. Was that really cause for conceding. I mean, his deck was working quite well, the Dark Jeskai colors. But, well, he did have the Archive Sphinx's tutelage in play, and the retreat to Kazandu, so every land gained him 4 life, and every card he drew milled 2, and then past the first card he drew an extra card. It would have been a pain in the ass to win, but I don't know that I would have conceded right there. I mean, it would have been a climb to try and dig your way out of that, but... Alright, Knight of the White Orchid without his land search. Debilitating Injury to get rid of it. And that's another card that I've never seen before, or played before in tournament practice, is Debilitating Injury. Monastery Siege. And Ojutai's command to return the knight and draw a card, I think. It doesn't say. So, again, he's in a pretty good position. And dig through time. This mill deck is really slow. Now, he did win the first game, but at the same time, I don't think that he could win against many decks. This mill version seems far too slow to be viable in any tournament. He did just hit Sphinx's tutelage, though. And Jace. Mills off 2 lands, which was actually helpful. But then it hits Ojutai's command, Silk Wrap, Knight, and Dispel. Ojutai's command would have been nice. Silk Wrap appears to be completely useless. Knight would have been alright, and Dispel has limited uses against this guy. For example, Utter End. And Dig Through Time. And Jace is gone. I don't know. This Dark Jeskai control deck, you know, control decks are typically slow, but this one seems slower, and it doesn't have much power to it. I mean, if you wanted to make a control deck, this deck doesn't have nearly enough counterspells for that. So, Knight, Clash of Wills, and 2 land. And a second Sphinx's Tutelage. 29 cards in his library. He's going to be milling, what, 8 minimum every turn? 2 cards per draw. Yeah. Though the mill does let him immediately flip Jace. And if he wanted to, he could flash back Dig Through Time with all the cards in his graveyard. It would just be 2 blue. But he chose to plus Jace and Dragon Lord Ojutai. Now, Dragon Lord might be the only thing that could win him this game, because he needs to punch this guy in the face. But if he gets some bad mills, he could lose pretty much his whole deck. Alright, that was only 2, that was only 2, that was only 2, and that was 10! Oh, so he is running red. Double Chandra's Ignition. Which, so far as I've seen, the only card worth it would be to play that on Ojutai. And I'm wondering whether or not that's main deck or sideboard. And Painful Truths. And now I understand. I was talking a lot of crap about that draw spell earlier, but now I understand why. It doesn't matter how bad it is. This is a mill deck. The drawing of cards is the whole point. It doesn't matter that you draw 4 cards and discard 2. It's the fact that you drew 4 cards. And he milled him. I have to say, I cannot believe that deck was as good as it was. It seemed way too slow. But that was a 4-color, that was a 4-color mill versus a dark Jeskai control. And if you liked what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button for me, and I